Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I cannot believe I am shooting a video on December 31st. It's the last day of the year. And I started, this was a couple days ago, I started preparing my thoughts of the next phase in 2025. And so I thought I would do a little bit of a recap video of 2024, but also talk about my next progression, my next stage. And if you're new, I started taking Mounjaro back in March of 2023 for weight loss. I'm not type 2 diabetic, but I was close to the obesity category. I had really high blood pressure, scary high, and some issues with cholesterol and a couple other health ailments that were slowly popping in because I just was not taking care of myself. But I started back in March of 2023, and a lot of my success happened that year. But I called the 2023 year the year of the unknowns, where you are just trying to find different ways to lose weight, minimize side effects, and just survive. Because I knew it was going to be a long weight loss journey. And well, I'm 20 plus months into it now, coming up at the end of the year. What is that? Close enough to, yeah, like 21 months. But when I started my weight loss journey, like I said, 2023 was a year of unknowns. So when I entered 2024, I had a goal of losing 100 pounds total. So, I knew what I needed to lose in 2024 to get there. I also knew some of the areas that I wanted to continue to roll over and expand on, which was, focusing on protein. And, then at some point I started really taking a look at fiber. I was still always on top of my hydration and my electrolytes, which were extremely key for me. I think that also helps, keep the side effects down as well, because I was trying to stay protein high. Still, I'm a carb person, but I get a lot of my carbs from, fruits and vegetables and a couple other little things here and there. But when I went into my phone and I looked at from January 1st to today, it said I lost 24 pounds. And the interesting thing is I'm a tracker. I'm usually somebody that knows, I lost this amount of weight this month or that month. But this year, even though I was on a weight loss journey, my mind wasn't so much focused on, the weekly and the monthly, like, oh, I lost, 6 pounds this month or 7 pounds this month. And I've done videos where I've talked about those things, but I didn't retain it. And so seeing that I lost 24 pounds to me is incredible. That I still am actively losing weight and inching closer to my goal and trying to each and every month learn more and more about myself. But I don't know why I was pleasantly surprised to see that 24 pounds. So I'm up to 93 pounds lost. Yes, I'm still 7 pounds short of my 100-pound goal, but I'm okay with that. I think I've come to the realization that that's where I'm going to have to be. And I'm going to, as I move into 2025, and I'll talk about my goals there shortly, but it's going to be less of this weight loss journey, this focusing on the number on the scale and more on some other factors. But I went through and I was like, what are some of the things that I thoroughly enjoyed doing? And I found success in 2024, which I think ultimately allowed me to lose 24 pounds, but also, add up to 93 pounds total since I started in March in 2023. And that was, like I said before, I really focused on a couple key macros, which was protein, and then some fiber. As each month would progress, I started looking a little bit more and more at the food I was eating and the direction I wanted to go into, but I didn't really, and I'll get into I feel like my profound moment in September, but all of these changes that I've made from, consistently going to the gym to do resistance training or strength training, most of the time I would do 3 to 4 days, but then there were some times where I can only do, 2 days a week, and that's okay. But I was still actively showing up for myself each and every week to get to the gym, to do resistance training. Also fell in love again with walking, absolutely love walking. I find I am the happiest when I have the ability to get up in the morning, put on my sneakers, and head out the door and get 2 miles in before I start my day. Same thing with, there's times where I may not be able to do it first thing in the morning, I'll do it at lunch. But I just love being able to get out, fresh air, sun, get some steps in, a little bit of a sweat here and there. But even though it is a low impact, it it does wonders for me, and I absolutely love it. And I might have moved a little bit away from it towards the end of this year, still getting my steps in and walking, but, just not being able to get outside as much because I'm a baby in the cold. But this year, I did the ultra marathon walk where I walked 100 miles through the course of August. I've always loved to do walking challenges, trying to hit 10,000 plus steps a day and just having different markers in place. And I felt like in 2024, I was very consistent with still, resistance training, still walking, still, focused on the protein and the fiber and also hydration. But with doing all of that, as I progressed from 2023 to 2024, I still was trying to monitor my sleep. And I think that is one of the biggest upsides to, me looking at my results so far of 2024 was I was looking at my sleep tracker and also I try to consistently go to bed around the same time and get up around the same time every morning. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but I probably on average would get like 5 or 6 hours of sleep. I was lucky if I got 5 hours of sleep, even, last year in 2023 while I was on that started my weight loss journey. But this year coming in, I was probably hitting around 6 hours. And as each month progressed and I started taking a look at different things I was doing in the evening, the foods I was eating, the timing, so many other different things, I noticed that I was gradually getting more and more sleep. And I, downloaded an app on my phone to do some sleep tracking. I wish I could do sleep tracking every single night, but I'm the one that bought an Apple Watch Ultra a couple years ago when they first came out. I'm not an ultra person. I'm not deep diving. I'm not going to climb Mount Everest. I don't know why I decided that I had to get this. It's a little bulky, so to sleep in it, it's a little tough, but I did just recently buy some simple little cloth bands, which make it feel a little bit lighter on my wrist. So I'm hoping I can kind of get to like 3 or 4 nights of sleep. Plus it doesn't have the greatest battery life. But I think looking back this year, being able to get now 7.5 to 8 hours, consistently a night of sleep might be my biggest win of 2024. And I can't wait to keep growing and expanding on that with, a couple other additional things I plan on doing in the evening, but I'm very happy if I can get anywhere from 8 to 8.5 hours of sleep. That is the window that I'm looking for, but sleep has just, I felt like had a big impact on me this year. But I know we like to talk about, the medication and the dosages, and I don't want to leave that out here because I'm still taking, I was taking Mounjaro up until August, and then I moved over to Join Fridays. I'm now currently on tirzepatide, but I started and ended 7.5 to 10, 7.5 to 10. Now I'm, 10 and then 7.5. So I kept teetering just around those two dosages throughout the year. And I did notice in the past couple months a little bit of the food noise and, some of the appetite suppression, all of that started, the food noise started coming back in, the appetite suppression slowly started to diminish. But it's still there enough that I don't feel like I should be going up anymore in the dosage just to try to hit a couple more pounds lost. And I'll get into that in a couple minutes. But yeah, so I'm now on tirzepatide through Join Fridays, but I'm going to talk about a failure that came success and also tied into, the letter I got in August. But in August, I received a letter from my insurance company that they were no longer going to be covering Mounjaro. So I was not ready at that time to transition off of it. I had this plan in my mind to be on this medication a minimum of 3 years. I planned to take 2 years to lose the weight I needed to lose, and then a year where I can actively maintain it, because there's a lot of studies out there that show that if you're able to maintain your weight loss 6 months to a year, the likelihood of you keeping it off is a lot greater. But everybody's different. And in my particular case, that was in my mind. That's what I wanted to do. And then getting that letter, I was like, oh, all right, well, am I going to be able to fit the cost of a compound medication into my budget? And I changed some things up, stretched some things out. And I said, okay, I think I can, but then I want to talk about, I call this for me, and I want to put a disclaimer. There is no reason that I have no judgment on anybody that takes it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, for life. That's the conversations you have with your doctor. And a lot of the things that decisions I've made have been initiated with conversations with my doctor. But getting that letter started me thinking a little bit down the road of what are some additional things that I could be doing to help the situation. And then all of a sudden, it was totally random, but I was at the beach with my sister, and somebody I think she was working with told her to watch this podcast. And I know there's people that aren't a fan of this individual, and that's perfectly fine. I want to put this out there that I love to absorb knowledge from everywhere. I love to just, whatever side of the aisle you're on, I'm in the middle because I want it all. I want to get it all. I want to make my own opinion. But it was a Tucker Carlson podcast, and he had on Dr. Casey Means and Callie Means. And I remember sitting, in the condo with my sister at the beach and just saying, I got to watch this again. I don't know. There's something hit me during that talk. And then, she was also promoting a book. And I said, we got to get this book. I want to read this book. And so I was in the midst of thinking about doing a 75 hard challenge. This was towards the end of August. In September, I was going to do, right after Labor Day, I was going to do a 75 hard challenge. And I said, let me finish the Atomic Habits book during the trip, and I'll probably finish it into the start of the 75 hard challenge. And then I will start reading this book. And my sister read it in like 2.5 days. And she was trying to tell me things, but she didn't want to ruin it. And I'm starting to find more and more conversations that this individual has had. And I get it. It is interesting how I could be so just taken in by the knowledge and the topic she was talking about, but at the same time, she's anti-GLP-1s. And I get it. I get it from every single aisle and viewpoint. I'm somebody that lives in the middle when it comes to that. I think that GLP-1s, there's so many different buckets that people fall into. And I, for one, am not a medical expert. And I'm not going to tell you who should and who shouldn't take them, who shouldn't have a higher dose, should have a lower dose, who should be on it longer. That's not for me. I worry about my situation. And so I started the 75 hard challenge, which I failed. I failed within 30 days, but out of that challenge came me reading the Good Energy book. And it was just, first of all, getting through the first couple chapters as somebody that's not really good into reading scientific terms and stuff. I had to do the audio and read at the same time because I was like, I don't know how to pronounce that word. It cracked me up the whole time. But as I was progressing through it and learning so much about the keys to maintaining your optimum health, how to improve your metabolism, and these are ways through the foods that you're eating and learning about a little bit about the food industry and the meal timing and environmental toxins and just so much information that she put out there that I was like, I needed this. And this is going to be where I progress in 2025. So I'm now going to be moving away from a weight loss journey because if I lose a couple pounds in 2025, great. That's not my focus anymore. I don't want to gain the weight, but if I gain the weight because I'm seeing I'm adding muscle, I know there's going to debate on that, whatever. But but I'm going to be moving away from this focus on the number on the scale, this weight loss journey I'm on, to now this journey of optimizing my metabolism. And I'm going to be making drastic changes because I started incorporating a little bit of the principles that she talked about towards the end of this year. And it was night and day of how I felt. When I was cutting, added sugars, when I was getting higher quality meats and dairy and yogurts. I mean, I know yogurt's dairy, but I was just, refined grains. There were certain things that I was teetering away from. And I started really on this clean eating focus and whole foods. I never felt better. And, there's learning curves to this. And I didn't stick to it 100%. I did 90-10, then it became 80-20. But I think for the entire 2025 year, I am going to take the principles from this book. I'm also going to take the science behind Lumen, where they say they hack your metabolism, they provide you your macros throughout the day, so you have metabolic flexibility so that your body's burning carbs versus fat, at different times throughout the day, helping me with meal timing or, a little bit here and there with intermittent fasting. I am going to make 2025 the year of optimizing my metabolism. And I'm not going to go super in depth into this. That'll be into the next video of really what my goals look like. For the first time in my life, I am a very organized person. I like to plan things. I do occasionally like to write things down. I'm a very app-heavy person. But I picked myself up, this thing's massive, a Pro Planner, just from Amazon. I'll link it below. I even got some extra stickers. I don't know who I am. But it's a daily and weekly calendar. It also allows me to set some goals where I see myself, in 3 months to a year, 5 years, whatever. I'm not worried about the grand plans down the road. I'm more of trying to look at it from what really I want to achieve in 2025. How can I get there? Not going all 100% on month one, but slowly chipping away so that I get to, this world of, for me, seeing if I can make all of these changes to my lifestyle, to my behavior, more than I ever have in the past. What impact will that have on my health? And I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to track this, because I think it's very important to see trends and track and analyze. And I know that I put a little extra money in my FSA. I'm going to reach out tomorrow because I'll have the money in my FSA. I used all of it up already for 2024. But I put some money in my FSA to cover blood work through a company called Function Health, 100 plus biomarkers. And I think, you get, start of the year, it's like you get 2 tests throughout the year. And so I am going to have that blood work done as soon as I possibly can get it scheduled, once I talk to them tomorrow. And that will give me my baselines. It'll also give me something that I'm so obsessed with lately, and that is your metabolic age. And I was a little bit of that in the past. When you have a SMART scale, you get the metabolic age. And I remember when I started taking Mounjaro back in March of 2023, I'm pretty sure my metabolic age was 5 or 6 years older than I really was. And that is depressing. It was oh my God, I'm even older than my older sister. I was like, this is uncalled for. Now I'm right at my age. I am 44 years old. But I want to make a goal of getting my metabolic age under my real age, because I think there's just some key things to that. But there are a couple things that I'm going to be tracking in regards to how I can see whether or not I am optimizing my metabolism. But I'm so excited for this next phase. And I think it's important to, and I know that I've failed in the past of maintaining weight. I think it's because I've always just stopped and was what's next? And I found my what's next. And that is no longer living in this weight loss mindset and transitioning into metabolic health and what that looks for me. What are the things I can learn? I kind of knew I was going to do this in 2025, and I've talked to friends and family about it, and they just showered me with some of the most amazing gifts for the holiday season, because I want to get back into doing more into the kitchen and cooking. I got a grill pan and some new, pans and saute pans, a braise pan, and just got so many amazing tools and gadgets that I can use in the kitchen. And then with, I always say with this new plan of mine in 2025 of optimizing my metabolism, there's so much more I could be doing in terms of seeing what environmental toxins are, I'm exposed to, but not going super crazy there. But one of the things was, not only do I want to get healthy on the inside, I also want to get healthy on the outside. And, you know, I've already used really good skincare products. I have been doing a little dabble here and there in red light therapy at a med spa, but it adds up. And it's just, I don't want to drive there just for that. And so, unbelievable gift from my sister and her fiance. They gave me a red light therapy mask from Higher Dose. And I'm going to be seeing how red light therapy can help me in terms of some skin issues. I still have a little rosacea, but you know, I may not have the ability to undo some of the damage from radiation from having cancer. But I'm really excited to see, coupled with my skincare routine, now the red light therapy mask, really focusing on clean eating and doing my resistance training and walking and hydration and so many, and using the Lumen to help me with my macros. I'm really excited to make these changes, not only on the inside, but also on the outside. But yeah, I wanted to hop on here, like I said, really quickly, I mean, 2024 flew by. I feel like once even I hit September, it was December 31st. Like, I don't know what happened from October, November, and December. It just flew by. And I think I just got on the ride and hoped for the best. But I want to take a little bit more control over certain areas of my life. And I'm really looking forward to this challenge, this new challenge of myself. And in some ways, it's like starting Mounjaro all over again. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be so many unknowns. When you start Mounjaro, you don't just throw everything at yourself, change everything. And so I have most of January mapped out. I'm going to be doing a video on that next, so stay tuned for that. But comment below, what were some of the top highlights from 2024? What are some of the things that you learned from? Like, I talked about failing the 75 hard challenge, but came with that is this new phase that I'm going to be entering in my life, and I'm learning so much about. I learned so much from even failing that challenge, that as somebody that's so competitive, knew that it was going to do more harm than good for me to continue when I was dealing with not being able to sleeping for a couple days. My dog got injured, and then I felt like I was getting sick. But speaking of, I'm going to go on a tangent real quick. 2024, I did not get sick once. Think about that. I did not get sick once. No cold. I mean, there are so many different viruses going around. Not once did I get sick. Did I feel like I was getting sick? Maybe once or twice. And I was like, oh, let me, do a couple little protocols. But I never got sick once. Only time I would go to the doctor would be for my annuals, the physicals, and just some blood work because I'm taking, Mounjaro, now tirzepatide. That was it. So talk about like the profound impact that, losing weight and, changing your lifestyle and your behavioral, making some modifications there. How that just, I have a terrible immune system prior to this. I felt like I was always sick or feeling horrible, but 2024, I didn't get sick once, and it's December 31st, so I just need to get through today to make that 100% accurate. And I hope this doesn't jinx me for 2025, but I want to wrap it up there. A little recap of 2024, more to come on this next phase of 2025. Keep in mind that I'm still going to be on tirzepatide for the next couple of months. Still figuring out the de-escalation plan there. That's not part of my December. I probably maybe teeter down to 5 at some point in January, I should say, not December. But I would say if you're still actively taking Mounjaro and you're still actively on a weight loss journey, I think you're going to love the content that I'm going to be putting out in 2025, because it is still something that you can do as you're taking this medication. And I think you could learn from, probably learn from my failures that I'm going to have. I'm going to have so many lessons learned in 2025, kind of like 2023 when I started Mounjaro. But yeah, I hope every one of you had a fantastic New Year's. Bring on 2025. I can't wait to share, my new journey with each and every one of you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.